What is up, guys? It is the Redstone Scientist here. Welcome back to another episode of TRS's World. Alright, guys, so I hope you enjoyed the last episode. After such a long hiatus, I'm ready to get back into the swing of things. So today, our main project is going to be building an insanely massive, high-tech, some would probably say overcomplicated, Netherwart farm. So why am I building a Netherwart farm? I don't really need Netherwart all that badly. Like, I rarely use potions. I actually like the Netherwart block a lot more than most people do. I don't know, something about the noise on it just makes it really quirky. I don't know how to explain it, but anyway, the main reason why I want to do it is because I came up with this design in a testing world, and it maximizes the efficiency of Netherwart farms in a way that I actually haven't seen before, which surprised me. Maybe I just haven't been looking in the right places. But I'm going to show you what I mean by that in just a minute. But the thing about this project is we're not going to finish it today because it is just so unbelievably massive. We're probably only going to be able to build one layer. I wanted to build like 11, but that's probably just going to be too laggy anyway. It uses more redstone resources than I have ever had to use in Minecraft. It is absolutely insane. Like, this is probably not going to be enough, all of these boxes and boxes of redstone for this. And the thing is, well, I guess you'll see. Let me finish mining out all of this redstone. I've got a lot of stuff to craft up, including 6 stacks of observers. That's just for one layer. Almost 6 stacks. Anyway, guys, yeah, I'm going to finish up getting as much redstone as I possibly can, crafting all the stuff, and then I'm going to show you what is so special about this Netherwart farm design. Welcome back, guys. So let me walk you through how this works. So over here we have a single slice of this one-wide tileable AFK design. And so, first of all, before I explain to you how it works, let me explain to you why we need all of this redstone fanciness. So, let me explain to you how a traditional AFK Netherwart farm works. So, typically, you sit in a minecart, and you go along holding right-click while AFK, and you go through hundreds and hundreds of these rows, and you just plant down Netherwart, and then there's a timer system, which sort of averages out the amount of time it should take for most of the Netherwart to grow to get the maximum yield, and it will activate pistons or flush water or whatever you want, and then the minecart just bounces back and forth as you continue to place Netherwart. So the reason why AFK Netherwart farms are so hard to do is, for one thing, it doesn't work like carrots, potatoes, and wheats where you can have a villager place it. Another thing is, the big thing is that Netherwart grows incredibly slowly, and mainly you can't bone meal it. And that's what makes it so difficult to farm efficiently. And that's why the larger your field is, well, actually, I'll get to that in a second. So the thing is about these designs is you can't actually detect when the Netherwart is fully grown. You just have to, use some estimation skills to say, all right, well, we could probably get the maximum yield if we wait, let's say, 5 minutes. So on a 5-minute clock, we'll wait, and then we'll clear all the Netherwart, and then people can go back through and plant it all. But the problem with that is that Netherwart growth is based on random tick speed, which of course is very slow and also very unpredictable, because it's really a shot in the dark in terms of efficiency. It really depends on how long you set your timer for the maximum yield, but you just don't know. So in order to get the maximum amount of yield out of a Netherwart farm, to increase the efficiency the most, there are a few things you have to do. You want to reduce the amount of time that nothing is happening. And what I mean by that is you want to reduce the amount of time that A, fully grown Netherwart is sitting there doing nothing, and B, you want to reduce the amount of time that nothing is there. And so, because imagine it, you could have a fully grown field of Netherwart, but because you can't detect if it's done, maybe you got a good round. Maybe you had a really good run and it's all grown 3 minutes early, but you still have to wait that extra 3 minutes for the timer to flush out all of the Netherwart. So you're just sitting there doing nothing for 3 minutes, waiting for it to go. So another way to put that, instead of reducing the amount of time nothing is happening, is you want to maximize the amount of growing time. The longer the growing time is, or the more time it has to grow, the more efficiently you're using your time AFK. And so I thought the solution to that is, what if every single piece of Netherwart, what if every potential growing space for Netherwart, every soul sand block, was controlled separately on its own?
it was controlled by its own mechanism. And so that's exactly what I did here, and it's one wide and tileable, as we can see over there. So how does it work? Well, it's using an observer. So I'm going to walk you through it. So first of all, we have the main thing that powers the whole thing is an update counter, which is done using a dropper and a hopper. So this hopper is set to 15 items here and 1 in all the other slots. And then, by the way, if you're wondering about the extra comparators and repeaters and stuff, it's all very specific to timing, which you'll understand in a minute. So the dropper has, every time that there's an update here, this observer will activate this dropper, which will increase the number of items in here. So Netherwart has 4 growth stages. When you place it down, it's 0. You can see on the right there, age 0. When it grows the first time, it'll be age 1, and then the next growth stage is age 2, and finally it's fully grown at age 3, and that's when you have the potential for a profit, which is when you break it, you get more than 1 Netherwart back. Because otherwise you just get a single Netherwart back. That's how you farm it. So we have to count the number of times that it grows, the number of times it updates. So the first time you place it down, that dropper will fire, and now we have 16 in here. On growth stage 1, we'll have 17, then 18. And then finally, when it grows, when it's fully grown, we hit 19. And I'll show you what that looks like here. Like that. So that's what happens when it's fully grown. And so we'll walk through everything that's happening here. But the point is that it hits 19 and then it resets itself. So when it hits 19, that increases the signal strength from 1 to 2. So over here, it's going through this block, that's 1. It's also going on top of this block, that's 1. And so it can go 2 directions, up and down. Let's first look at what's happening down. So it's going to go down here, and there's a very specific timing, that is the shortest it can get, to properly drain this hopper to its proper levels. Anything else, it gets a little bit unreliable, actually. So it activates this torch, which will drain this hopper, and also flick this trap door, which will activate this monostable circuit using this observer. And a very specific amount of time later, and I know it seems like a long time, but I'll get to why it has to be that long in a second, it will be detected by this observer, which will trigger this piston to return this block. Now that's going to make a lot more sense why we're doing that when we look at what happens in the top path. So it goes up here, activates this monostable circuit, which also covers up the hopper, which is nice so that you don't get any stray items in there. Activates this monostable circuit, which pulses this trapdoor very quickly. So yes, the first one will be the trapdoor opening, and the second one will be the trapdoor closing. And so let's talk through what needs to happen when the Netherwart is grown. We need to push this block down to break the Netherwart and harvest it. We need to move that block out of the way, and ordinarily that would be it, except for one fatal flaw. And that is, there's a very, very slim chance, especially if you have a large system, there's a very slim chance that the player is sitting right here exactly at the moment that the block in front of the observer is retracting. Now remember, a block being placed and a block being retracted still counts as an update for the observer. So that's still going to fire this dropper. And so, but it accounts for that. But if the player is sitting here at the exact moment that that block is being retracted, they will place the Netherwart immediately as the block is retracted and turns into block 36, which the observer will only count as one block update. So what it should be doing, right, what you would think it would do is it would count, okay, the block is moving out of the way, that's 1, and the player placed down Netherwart, that's 2. Except it doesn't if it's immediately afterward. It's just too fast, and so it counts it as a single update. And we can't predict when that's going to happen. We can't predict when the player is going to be directly in front of it. And so that's why we have to make a little more complicated up here. And the reason why it's all done with observers is so that it can be easily tileable. It took me quite a while to get this. And we need to block it off without actually updating the observer. So it goes chung chung. The first, remember, observers make you spit out a block. So first, it extends on the first trapdoor pulse and then retracts on the second trapdoor pulse. And so the hopper is still draining during all of this, so that's okay. It doesn't mess it up. Except, we want to make sure the hopper stops draining by the time we place that first Netherwart. So what we're going to do is we're going to block off our access to it by extending this block down. So what happens is it goes around here, and it gets activated goes up here, which detects this, which detects that, and this pulses once. And then when it turns off, it'll pulse again. So then we also go across the top here and power that. And now this, unlike this one, this is a sticky piston, but this is a regular piston. And so what that means is we can just push this block out and leave it there as long as we want until we activate this piston, which will push it back. So what we're doing here is these two will extend at the same time, breaking the netherwart and blocking our access to it. And we can, continue right-clicking while we sit here and nothing's going to happen. But then, I know it seems like a long time, but unfortunately that's just the amount of time it needs to properly cool down. I've tried to reduce it. Maybe you guys can do a little better, but I'm pretty happy with this design. It will return this block and everything is reset. So I know that was a bit of a whirlwind explanation, but it works really well and you can tile it horizontally and almost vertically. You need a block of space in between, but it's almost perfect. So if it weren't for this piston right here, which I'm sure you could fix because of these observers. But anyway, yeah, so this is what I have built in TRS's world. So speaking of which, let's hop back into TRS's world. And basically, I just want to close this clip by saying, when you have something like this, right, and every netherwart is controlled individually, you reduce the amount of time that nothing is happening, and you maximize the growing time, the potential growing time for each individual piece of netherwart. So let's hop back into TRS's world and see this thing in action.
Originally, why is it so far away? Because, one, of lag, and two, I thought it was going to go much higher than I already figured out I'm going to do it, because I wanted to go to build limit, and that means that I couldn't be under the basin. But whatever, I dug out this area, so it's going to go here. So I'm trying to sort of build it from memory. It's a lot of remembering timings and stuff of repeaters. Oh, great, I have to go get repeaters. But yes, there are a lot of materials, a lot of things to do. I'm going to build up the first module here, and then I'll be right back.
So if that last clip seemed a little abrupt to you, it would make sense why. It's because I cut out a whole bunch of stuff because I was explaining stuff that I already explained because I recorded it out of order. But anyway, I'm not going to show you just the first module. I'm going to show you the first two layers fully built up. So it's in the eastern wing. Originally, I did show this, but I had to cut it out. And so the actual walkway is going to be higher up. This is sort of temporary. I can talk about my plans for it later. But yeah, this was blown out with TNT. And I've been doing a lot of AFKing here while I've been doing other things and also trying to get the materials for this thing because it's so expensive. I'm not sure how I feel about this glass wall, but it's all right for now. Protects it, I guess. The rail timings are a little bit finicky because you don't want to go too quickly or otherwise you won't be able to hit the netherwart. But yeah, here it is. Let me go into spectator mode and we can get a better view of it. So here it is. This is the first two layers, so you can imagine this thing being built way up into the sky. I'm not going to build it all the way up there because it took forever to get these resources. Like, just like 4 or 5 stacks of observers just for one layer or something like that. It's very expensive, but it has been yielding netherwart like a boss. I mean, just like crazy. Oh, it's not here. I guess I've put it all away and also used some of the netherwart blocks. But it's very nice that basically every time I go over this detector rail, it will dispense a piece of netherwart to me to make sure my inventory is always full of netherwart. And if I don't pick it up, it'll go into this hopper, which will go back into the dropper, which will then shoot it back up there. So let me just show you what it looks like while you're actually using it. Let's grab some netherwart. So let's grab like 27 netherwart. You'd fill up your inventory. Man, I'm getting some real lag, probably because I'm doing other things on my computer. So you would get this thing going here by going to the end. Come on. Come on. I would set up a auto right-click function thing and just hold down right-click. Why am I getting such terrible lag? Yeah, we go up here. I'm probably going to rework the rail system to be a little bit more efficient and also not as curly-Q like that later, but I want to get the actual base of the machine up there. Man, the lag is real. I was not getting this before, by the way, so it has nothing to do with the netherwart farm itself. It has to do with what else I'm doing on my computer. So, yes, you just sit here, and it gets you netherwart. So there's a line of hoppers going underneath every line of soul sand, which ends up funneling back down to the bottom here, and you can collect it in here, and which will also recycle it to give back to you. And then this is just for storage. So I'm extremely happy with the way that came out. We're probably not going to build any more of it in today's episode. It's probably going to be an off-camera thing. But there is another very small project that I want to get done, which is, I already built one of them in my world, but I want to build another one on camera with you, which is something I made in my Redstone testing world. I think it's really cute and very nice little contraption, and I'll show you what it looks like in just a second. I'll show you the first one I built. So in every branch of the sorting system, there are these little furnace arrays, which are not automated at all. They're just furnaces in the ground, and they're not meant for, you know, big smelting jobs. It's meant to be just something you do as you're walking by. Very little jobs, things like that. But I wanted to just add a little bit of character to it. And so what I did over here, which I'm really happy with because it fits perfectly into this space and doesn't go outside the border at all, is this thing. Let me get something to actually put in here. It'll be a little bit harder to see just because we're using coal, so it'll last longer. But if you listen closely, each one of these is controlled individually, so when I light it up, it plays, I think I was talking over it, so you couldn't really hear it, but it does play a little note when it gets activated, and then when it's done, it'll play a lower note. These note blocks actually don't get used, these are just for fun, but it'll play a lower note to let you know that it's done. So let's look at another example by just doing one chorus fruit. So it'll actually have to cook the whole thing. The way this works is by using observers, because the block actually changes, the whole block type changes. You can see it says lit furnace as opposed to just furnace. So when it lights up, we hear the sound. Let's see if we can hear it this time. It'll be very soft. I think you heard it there. I can hear it much more in my headphones, but I know it doesn't get picked up great on my recording. But anyway, I think that's really cute, and it's a really compact, pretty design. So I'm going to show you how to build it over here. I'm also going to do a tutorial on this on my channel separately, because I think it's a really cute design. It's not very practical, but it's cheap and it's cute. Alright guys, so I could just show you how to build this thing in another video and a tutorial. So I'm actually going to talk to you guys about Wesley. So if you don't know what Wesley is, it's the revolutionary adventure map that Dragon014 and I, and now Red's Kingdom, have been working on for over a year now. We showed the teaser trailer, the first map teaser trailer at Minecon last year, and it is just a beyond belief scale, the size of this map, in terms of the amount of effort that's going into it. And, you know, the reason it's revolutionary is because of the mechanics also. But anyway, it's going to take a long time. I know Phoenix SC just recently released what's probably the largest adventure map ever, Pokemon Cobalt and Amethyst, but unfortunately this probably is going to take a little bit longer. But anyway, what's been going on with it? What's with the lack of content recently? So mostly it's been with delays, waiting around for life and other issues unrelated to the project, for all of us, not just me. I've also been doing some other Minecraft map making work as well, which I can't really talk about right now. But obviously the reason why it's so revolutionary, in addition to the very experimental kind of format and style we're doing, it's sort of a Telltale Games kind of vibe, and it's extremely heavily choice-based narrative, even more than some of Telltale Games' stuff. And hopefully going to be more fun than Telltale Games stuff, depending on where you stand on that. But mostly it's because of the NPCs. The whole map is made with these dynamically moving NPCs that is developed from Unaware's system that he used to recreate Minecraft Story Mode, the scene from it in Minecraft. If you haven't seen that, I recommend checking it out. One of the coolest creations I've ever seen in the game. Anyway, I just want to talk a little bit about that. So one of the things that's been taking so long is we are sort of... Mr. Goretto is not part of the project, but he plays a large role in that the automation of the NPC generation process is done heavily through his Armor Stand animation generator and some custom features that he's written for us there. And so a lot of times it's because he's not directly involved with the project, other than in this capacity, you know, it's sort of on his own time. But he's been amazing about responding very quickly and fixing issues we're having, adding stuff in. Like I said, a lot of the process for how we automate the generation is under wraps right now. It'll be released when the map is released. And so that's another reason why there's been a lack of sneak peeks and content. What's been happening recently, So I just finished creating the first prototype of scene 1. So that's with actual moving NPCs and dialogue. So it's not finalized yet, but it's a prototype, and it looks very promising. The casting is really speeding up, and the voiceover work. So young Wesley's lines are all in. The Beast Gamer 25 did a great job with that. We finally got it all done because he had a lot of lines. That's just for Act 1. And the dad has been recast for various reasons. So I'm actually going to play the dad because it's a pretty small role, and I think it'll be fine. We've also just added another actress to play teen and up, so teen, adult, and elderly Lucy, in addition to the actress who's playing her as a child. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, by the way, there's a link in the description showing you the current cast list, the description of the characters, who's been cast, who hasn't. Anyway, we've also got all of James as a child. We've got all of his lines recorded for Act 1, so that's all of James' child lines. And we've also just cast the teen and up James, and he's going to start recording pretty soon. We're also sort of on the fence about casting for Mary and Sam, but we're getting there. So if you applied and you haven't been contacted, don't give up hope, because there is plenty more to come. We still have all your info. I also sent out a mass email a while back, sending to a huge number of people on the who applied. Not everyone, but a huge number of people who did not submit a demo reel, because that later became a mandatory aspect of the application. So make sure to check your spam folder if you haven't received that. If you applied, you probably received it. If not, don't worry about it. You're still in the running. So also writing for the script is about to really speed up, I think. Some of the other guys who do more of the writing, their schedule's clearing up a little bit more. Red's Kingdom, as I said, who's been doing some writing for us, has really become a main map director, because he has gotten so involved with it. So if you weren't aware, I wrote a Wesley 2016 end of the year letter that I made public. If you're interested, link in the description. A lot of the info is outdated now, but it's still a good indication of what we did last year. So we're actually starting to get some lines in, finishing up the final systems creation, finishing up the tech and automation, and we're almost ready to really launch headfirst into the actual development of the real thing, so we can have something tangible to start showing you. So how long is the rest of the map going to take? It's really too early to say, but it's going to take a long time, guys. But hopefully, as we finish up more of this abstract stuff with generation and spreadsheets and so forth, once that's all done, I'll have a lot more stuff to keep you guys updated with and whet your appetite for that. So, yes, I think that's all I have to say.
Alright guys, it is finished, and I sort of built that the sucker way because I was wrong about how much space I needed, and that made it a little bit harder. It took me about 10 minutes to make. It should only have taken, like, you could probably pop these things out in under a minute max, or under a minute minimum, rather. But as you can see, when it's done cooking, as soon as that is done, it will play a lower tone, and then, let's hear, 1 second. There we go, and then, when we put stuff in there and we start it cooking, it plays a higher note. I don't know why I'm still getting lag. But anyway, I'm going to have to investigate that separately. I think there may be an entity issue, but that's beside the point. I think that is just about all I have time for today. I'm pretty happy with the way this came out, and I'm glad I got to talk to you guys about Wesley and stuff, and I like this. I like this little contraption. Man, the lag is real. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you all next time. Wait, no, that's not it. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, a comment, or better yet, hit that subscribe button. Make sure to check out the jam-packed description for more science. I will see you next time, and of course, thanks for watching.